President Trump has been president-elect for just 48 hours, and already his Trump team has outlined a strategy to basically end the conflict in Ukraine already. And President Putin in the past 24 hours has said he's ready to talk peace. So the Wall Street Journal dropping this bombshell story, and it's honestly a big middle finger to Europe. And with the warmongers in the United Kingdom, remember, there was a peace plan in place. Boris Johnson and the merry band of UK warmongers got in the way of the peace plan that kept this thing going. Hundreds of thousands of additional Ukrainians were killed as a result of this boondoggle, and Brussels. And so the European Union specifically were pushing for this to be prolonged. Well, now those chickens are coming home to roost. So here's what the Wall Street Journal is reporting overnight: that Trump would immediately demand that Ukraine stop all combat operations. Okay, and set up an 800-mile demilitarized zone. So that means all of the Donbass and these regions, that's exactly what they wanted. They wanted combat operations to stop. They wanted to stop being genocided since the 2014 coup that was backed by the CIA and the Obama administration under Victoria Nuland that set this whole process in place. And all of those people that were being killed in Donetsk and throughout all of the Donbass would be protected. No more military action, and basically moving towards peace. Now, the plan emphasizes halting combat in Ukraine, but still providing military aid. This is where I think President Trump likely will step in on some of this talk on this and probably bar Ukraine from getting any additional U.S. weapons, especially if J.D. Vance has his say on this, stop sending any weapons at all. So right now, this may be a compromise, right? Yes, you lose the Donbass region, which is fully ethnic Russian. They voted, of course, to become Russia. They said they wanted to become part of Russia. They're tired of being killed by Ukraine. So you're done with that. That's done, gone. You're going to stop military operations. And yes, the United States would still be funding or providing you with some military assistance and training for a while, but essentially ending this war. And the biggest part of this and the biggest middle finger is that all of these efforts now and any sort of extension of what happens in Ukraine would be handed over to the Europeans. Like, it would basically come off of America's back. And Europe, you want to fund any more of this? Good. Europe is going to handle the rest of this now in this roadmap.
Have at it.
This is unbelievable. So Poland, Germany, Britain, and France would all have to put forward their resources, put forth all of their resources to continue this if they want any kind of involvement in this anymore. And the Trump administration basically saying, we're done. We're done with this. Another big piece of this is that the Trump administration, the new Trump administration, would bar Ukraine from entering NATO. They put a 20-year, no way you're not joining NATO for 20 years. Sorry, Zelensky. I mean, this is like the biggest middle finger possible.
Yes. That's why Zelensky keeps posting about how much he loves Trump on his telegraph on X. It's really fun to watch this sort of groveling.
The little troll.
Of this murderous little troll.
Who is a dictator, by the way. Did you see the meme that was floating around yesterday? Maybe you shared it with me, and it had a picture of Zelensky next to Nancy Pelosi. Or no, next to Kamala Harris. Mm-hmm. And it said, see, this is why we cancel elections. Mm-hmm. You know, because he canceled the election in Ukraine, and therefore he's still dictator. And so, you know, if the U.S. would have just canceled the election, instituted martial law, then, you know, Kamala Harris may become president of the United States. So this is a big move. And of course, J.D. Vance got in a huge heated argument back and forth with Zelensky. And of course, you know, basically calling the guy like a little groveling troll. So there is no love lost right now between Trump, J.D. Vance, and Zelensky and the Ukrainian corrupt government. Remember, J.D. Vance said, we're depleting all of our military stores, sending all of our weapons over there. What in the world? He's even on the record saying, he was on Steve Bannon's War Room. He says, I don't care about the border in Ukraine. Why do Americans involved in Ukraine at all? But here he was on the Senate floor saying we need to build weapons for here in the United States to protect our homeland. Watch.
Here right now, depleting critical munitions, missiles, artillery shells, and bullets faster than we can replenish them, and then we send them to Ukraine. Well, I'm sorry, why does that make an ounce of sense for our own national security? Shouldn't we rebuild our own manufacturing capacity before we spend all of it on Ukraine? Shouldn't we make more of our own weapons and gain some self-sufficiency in weapons manufacturing before we send all of those resources to Ukraine? The answer of the United States Senate is apparently not.
So looks like this gravy train is coming to a grinding halt. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. And
if they mean it, I mean, I'm sitting on tenterhooks here. Like, you better mean it. This is one of the things that most of us based our votes on. So you better do it. Yeah. I mean it.
End this war, end these people, this needless killing, and hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians being killed because of a Western-backed coup and boondoggle. And you know, let BlackRock and Vanguard, which now owns almost all of Ukraine, let them get to work. You know, building all of their apartment complexes and the stuff that they were going to do to steal all your land. Like, that was the whole plan all along, was destroy Ukraine. Every Ukrainian man would die, and BlackRock and Vanguard could come in and take all this land. That's exactly the plan. So now end it. It's done.
Well, that's exactly what was happening to the people in the Donbass, incidentally, is that they are mining valuable resources, which is in Western Ukraine, and they've been complaining for a decade that we mine all this resource, we send all our money to Kiev, we pay taxes, we get nothing in return, no infrastructure. So now that they are part of Russia, their economic situation has changed. Too bad, Ukraine, you forsake that. What's past tense of forsake?
Forsook,
maybe? I don't know.
People asking about Gaza. Yeah, that's the other big question. What are they going to do about Gaza? And over the past 24 hours, there are indications that Hamas is ready for peace talks. Mm-hmm. We'll see. I mean, right now, as our friend of the show, Dan Cohen, had tweeted, Gaza is a parking lot and has been utterly and totally destroyed. It is a massive land grab, as you know. And so we'll see. I think Trump absolutely does not want any war to continue in that region. He's absolutely said that. We'll see if he calls up, Netanyahu and says, end this now. But at the same time, Netanyahu is firing his head of the military. So we'll see how this all goes in Gaza.